Alright guys, in this tutorial we're going to quickly learn how to identify missing values in a data frame, and also we're going to talk about how we can potentially identify duplicated rows. Okay, so again, this is just a follow-up from the previous tutorial. We're still using the DMC 2006 train data file. Again, just a friendly reminder, this is data related to auctions online. We have the item, when the item was listed, when the listed ended, and so on. Okay, so let's read the data. So here, in the previous tutorial, I show you how to use describe. So if we do df describe, okay, and then include all, so it will tell us, right? So then for this particular, let me scroll to the right a little bit. So for which one? This one right here, we were able to identify that particular variable has missing values. Okay, but there are one more variable that also has missing values in it. This one right here, listing subtitle. So it only has 1050 values in it. Okay, so the bigger your data set is, I mean, it's going to be a lot of scrolling back and forth to, if you are using describe to identify missing values in a given column, it will be a lot of, scrolling back and forth, which it can be a little confusing. Okay, so instead of doing describe, so then there is another option. Okay, so reporting the number or the percentage, in some sense, the percentage of missing values in each column. So then for that, basically, let's do it in a couple of steps. So data frame, and then we do that is NA. So for that, basically what it does is just the same data frame, and in each of the cells of the data frame we see true or false. False, that means that it's not a missing value. True, that's a missing value. Okay, but then, okay, I see trues and false. I see most of them false, but I'm interested in knowing how many missing values I have on this one, how many I have on this one, and so on. Okay, so if that is the case, so we just need to add one more command, sum, and then this prints the number of missing values in each of the columns. So then we can see the listing subtitle has 6,948 missing values, and GMC has 118 missing values. So sometimes, I mean, practitioners prefer to use percentages instead of use actual numbers. So then if that is the case, so we just do 100 times this divided by the number of rows, right? Divided by length. And then now we have percentage values. So technically speaking, pretty much 87% of the data and the listing subtitle is missing. And then pretty much 1.5% of the data under GMC is missing. Okay. Again, this is just a different way to identify the percentage of missing values for each of the columns. Now, again, this is just a huge chunk that is missing. Do you want to include it, that variable in the data or in potential model? I don't know. I mean, nowadays, most of the sophisticated algorithms, they have some sort of like a mechanism that can deal directly with missing values. Okay, but again, whether you should include it or not, I mean, that's something that you need to, in some sense, try and test. Okay, so that's how you can quickly report the percentage of missing values for each of the columns in the data frame. Now let's go to the next task, which is, okay, another common task is, again, especially on real life data sets, sometimes, I mean, something goes wrong in the process that is collecting the data. So then sometimes you will run, or sometimes you will notice duplicated rows. Okay, So if you want to quickly identify potential duplicate rows using Pandas data frame, that's very easy. Okay, so reporting duplicated rows. So there is a command called duplicated. So then df duplicated. Okay, so let's run that first, and then that tells me the row 0 false. So then that means the row 0 is not duplicated. So then that means that rows 1 is not duplicated, and so on. And then keep in mind that this is duplicated with respect to the previous rows. Okay. So again, we see falses, a bunch of falses, but then if I'm interested on, knowing if there is, a duplicated row at all, so then you just do that sum, and that in this case, it prints 0. So then that means that there is no duplicated rows in the data frame. In other cases, you will see something different than 0, or something greater than 0 if there are duplicated rows, okay? But this is just another of those sanity checks that you need to run as you start getting familiar with your data, and then eventually, you start running into using your data for more sophisticated analysis. Okay. So again, if you want to identify the number of missing values for each of the columns, is NA. So that should be the command that you need to keep in mind. And for duplicated rows, duplicate it. All right, that's all I have for this video. See you on the next one.